happy to have you here. We're excited to give this one because we give this presentation internally about every 6 months because we really know the importance of having your employees as brand ambassadors. But not only that, it's so important for your own sales and your own network to really build up your LinkedIn presence, especially now LinkedIn is becoming one of the fastest growing platforms for business content, and it's actually really easy to build a large audience quickly on LinkedIn right now. So we want to jump on that because it's like any other social platform. In the beginning, it's really easy to build a large audience, and then after a while, the algorithms change and it becomes harder and harder. I am Tanya Coburn. I am the VP of Marketing at Trufla Technology. A little bit about me and my history. I began as an insurance broker and moved into marketing shortly after. I've been doing marketing for the last decade. I built and headed the communications department for Sharp Insurance, where we saw rapid growth. We were the fastest growing insurance brokerages for a couple of years there. And then I built and led the marketing department for the Rogers group of companies, now called Acera, until I permanently moved over onto the tech side with Trufla. I still do a lot of work with brokers, helping them build their digital footprint, branding, social media marketing, and giving any advice that I learned over the last decade doing this. Joining me today is Trufla's content marketing manager, Kelsey Kashluba. Thank you so much, Kelsey, for doing this webinar with me, and we would love to hear a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I started out marketing just over 15 years ago. I started out as a generalist in marketing, and then I moved into specializing in content marketing. I've worked with a ton of different brands on expanding their reach, honing in on their strategies. And then in 2022, I moved over to Trufla, where I came on as the content marketing manager, where I'm responsible for developing all the content strategies across all the different platforms, and just making sure we stay visible and engaged on social.
Fantastic. Thanks, Kelsey, and welcome everyone. I know there are people still coming in, but we're going to get started just for time. So welcome to the session, how to become a LinkedIn influencer and how to create effective and relevant online content.
Awesome. So I'm going to hop right into what we're going to discuss today. So we're going to start off by just sharing with you why LinkedIn is so important, and then go into kind of where you should start, how to create your own content, your network, your audience, what to measure, and then we have a couple challenges for you at the end there. So starting out with why it's so important. So be seen by decision makers. So 61% of B2B buyers rely on social media, particularly LinkedIn, during their buying journey. So you want to be on there. You want to be visible. If you're not visible, your competitor is visible, or people in your competitive market are visible. It's extremely important to be visible online nowadays, especially because Google does index social media too. So you can show up there as well. So to increase your brand awareness. So when you partner with B2B micro influencers, you can increase brand awareness by up to 22%, even with small follower accounts. So B2B credibility enhancement. 92% of customers trust recommendations from friends, families, and influencers. This showcases the power of influencer endorsements in building brand credibility and trust among your target audience. And this is super easy to do. You can just ask people for endorsements, or you can reach out personally and be like, hey, could you recommend me on LinkedIn? Could you go in and recommend my skill? Could you give me a quick testimonial? And it really makes a huge difference when people are looking at your profile. So some more metrics that are important. So B2B influencer marketing content receives 8 times more engagement than brand created content. So it's huge. When you have people like that influencer marketing content versus just a brand creating content, it's an online testimonial. It's instant like verification to the followers that like somebody has used your product and they've used it successfully. A significant 78% of B2B content consumers prefer the insights of industry leaders. And then we're going to go into B2B content marketing campaigns that use influencers generate 3 times more leads than campaigns that don't. So as you can see, B2B influencer marketing is extremely important. It just, again, like I said, gives you that word of mouth testimonial. When it's just coming from your brand, it's just coming from your brand. But when you have somebody else actually endorsing it, you have that online verification. Like, this product works. It's not just the brand talking about it. People are using this and finding success with it. B2B influencer marketing delivers an impressive ROI of $5.78 for every dollar spent. I mean, that's incredible. So we have a little post here in the middle. So we just have Sharif here talking about it's a big day. We've launched this product. So posts like this they're fantastic. As you can see underneath, he got 155 likes, 28 comments, and 16 reposts. So having all that information on there, like, this is a valuable piece of content, and people have gone on there and they've endorsed it. So let's talk about where to start. It can be daunting and you may not know where to start. So that's what we're here to help you with. So you want to optimize your profile. So first and foremost, like, having an optimized profile is the most important thing. People are going to come to your profile. They're going to look at it, especially after you put that content out there, and they want to see that, like, you have a great profile to back, like, what you're putting out there. So having that professional profile picture and banner, it is, I find, very important to have a professional photo. When people go to your profile, if it is anything that's like dark, they can't see you, you've taken this selfie in, your living room, it can be really hard it doesn't really put across that, like, professional overall look and vibe. And then having the banner. So, like, for us, when it came to launching a new product, we changed our banners out, because as you stay up to date on, like, what's going on within your company, what's going on within your brand, you can update it and promote it through your banner as well. And then Tanya here, when you look at her compelling headline and summary, it doesn't just have to be a VP of marketing at communications at TrueFlush. She also has, expert in growth marketing, a podcast producer and host, an AI marketing thought leader, and then Amplified Broker Tech Fest event director. So share everything that you're up to. Share all the things that you're kind of involved in, because there's more than just your one title. And I feel like it makes you look a lot more like an expert in your industry. And then have those relevant keywords, right? AI and marketing, podcast producer and host, growth marketing. People look for those kind of keywords when they're looking for assistance in building brands, looking for advice, trusting you as a thought leader. So then you want to create and share valuable content. So you want to be genuine. One thing we always see on social media and off social media, email marketing, everything, is that authenticity. It resonates so much more. I feel like people resonate more with knowing who you are and then liking your brand than they used to in the past. Like, it is all about being authentic and people knowing you and the organization. So always provide value. So look to always offer value within your content. Think about it when you're putting that content out there. Like, who am I trying to talk to? Who would want to read this? Would I want to read this? Would I get value from this? And then look at putting it out there. So we do have some great examples here. If you look on the side, we have Sharif, where he's sharing, like, a great post about, direct cost savings, indirect benefits. Like, reading that, like, you read his post, but you also kind of get key takeaways from it as well. So you get those little tips and tricks and things you can add into your everyday. And then we have a great post here by Emma Roloff, where she writes inspiring content and shares, like, that authentic piece of herself in her posts. So then we're going to talk about using different types of content. So don't just use one type of content when it comes to LinkedIn. You want to use multiple different kinds, because, educational posts are great, but why not also share a personal story that brings that authenticity into it? It lets people get to know you. You can also, combine a personal story and an educational post. Share industry news, so you look like a thought leader in your industry, and then trends and news, so you're staying up to date on what's changing and what's happening within that industry. So just going into a bunch of different content types. LinkedIn is great because you do have the opportunity to share multiple kinds of content, and we love that about it. So you can share, slide decks, you can share infographics, milestones, videos, networking, webinar, and you want to have your content be a full mix of this. Because when you have a mix of that, it's kind of, you're giving a ton of value to your followers and your LinkedIn connections, versus just sharing one type of content over and over and over again. And then you want to look at building your network. So this is another huge piece. Like, look at connecting with industry leaders. Send them an invite. You can even send a little message along with it too, just to be like, hey, like, I'd love to connect with you, XYZ. Attend virtual webinars and online events to network and share insights. So when there are webinars and events happening within your industry where it's a collaborative space, like attend those, get to know other people in your industry and make those connections, because you just never know where those connections will lead. And then the recommendation piece that we talked about. So give and request recommendations to build credibility. So if people ask them for them from you, obviously give those out and then request them in return. As you build that up, your profile only looks more like verified. It looks more authentic, and you truly look like a leader in your industry. And then engage with your network and beyond. So I feel like this is one thing that people always forget to do, is to comment, react, and share posts from your network. So get on there and like engage. It can be something as simple as like, hey, this is a great article. Like, thanks so much for sharing, or share like a little piece of insight you have on that article. Just keeping active, I would say, is really big on LinkedIn. And then join groups. There's thousands of groups on LinkedIn in tons of different industries. It does not need to just be in your city, does not even need to be in your country. Join groups on LinkedIn and engage with people, share with people. Again, when you're in those groups, make sure you're commenting, reacting, and engaging with posts to have a presence in there. And then also ask questions on threads and in groups. Get the person posting engaged, get other people engaged, get a conversation flowing. Just because someone else posted it doesn't mean you can't start a conversation there as well if you think it's an interesting topic. And then you want to analyze and adapt. So like obviously all the content you're putting out there, all the things you're, engaging with, getting, spending your time putting out there, you want to make sure they're working. So going in and looking at the LinkedIn analytics and seeing what is doing best and what your following is actually engaging with and what they find relevant is a great way to adjust your strategy and adjust your content. And then, get better results. The more you look at it, the more you hone in on what works and what doesn't for your followers, the better you're going to do, and the larger your reach is going to be on LinkedIn. So now that I've kind of gone through why it's important, how to get started, I'm going to hand it over to Tanya so she can talk more about personal branding.
Hello. Thanks, Kelsey, for all of that valuable information. I do want to make 2 points, though. If you haven't been on LinkedIn recently, the analytics view is fairly recent. Before, you had to be on creator mode. They took creator mode out. So now anybody can view their post analytics, and anyone can follow you, not just connect with you. So that's something to keep in mind. If they follow you, they can just see your profile, see everything you post, rather than connecting with everyone. But I want to go into personal branding. So you hear a lot of buzzwords: be authentic, be authentic, be authentic. It'll get you more engagement, more reach. And I hate it when people say, and I have it there, I know I have it there, plain view, it says be your authentic self. But what the heck does that even mean, to be your authentic self? And it often takes a lot of self-reflection. So while I'm going through some of these, and I'm going to post in the chat my own kind of like workbook that I created, where you can kind of really figure out and develop who you are as a professional brand personality and how to get there. Kind of reflect on some of these questions I'm about to ask you. Really look. This is where I start with any company, not just people. What are your core values? So what is important to you? What guides you? And what is it that motivates you? Write it down on a piece of paper. Who are you? I know that's a loaded philosophical question, but let's just start off by asking, what are your strengths? What are you passionate about? And ask yourself questions like, what am I really good at, and what do I really love doing? And what do people say about me, like at the office? What are some of the words I'm often hearing about myself? Or when I'm at like a networking event, kind of what vibe am I giving off? This quote I really, really love by Jeff Bezos is, your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. And that's so true. So what impression are you giving? Or moreover, what impression do you want to give when you've left the room? So, a personal brand is the unique combination of skills, experiences, and personality that you want the world to see. It is how you present yourself online and offline. And that is the authenticity right there, okay? It's how you present yourself both online and offline. So, originally, when some anecdotal information here, originally when I was doing about a year ago, started posting more about tips and tricks of things I've learned for the past 13 years in the industry that I really wanted to share, and help other marketing leaders and specialists, because I know navigating insurance marketing can be a little tricky. We have a very tricky product and a tricky demographic. So any help I can give, I wanted to, but I wasn't getting the traction I wanted to. Didn't think too much about it. I was busy doing my Truthful stuff. That was just some stuff I was doing on the side. Didn't really matter too much to me. It wasn't until I had to give a boot camp with Jennifer Pugsley from Goose Digital at Amplify Broker Tech Fest in Calgary last year. And if you haven't already, please buy your tickets. It's happening this September again. It's going to be awesome. I was so tired because I was also the event organizer. So I was like working day and night to do this event. And then I had to give a boot camp with Jen, that I didn't even have the energy to be someone I wasn't, to like put on this like strict professional, marketing persona. I was just my pure authentic self. And the amount of accolades I'm still getting from that presentation that I did, where I was just being a nerd, joking around, just being very serious about all the things I've learned and really wanting to help other brokers out there to learn from my mistakes and to learn from the insights I gained from the industry, changed my mind about personal branding and that authentic piece, which is to present yourself the same way you would online as offline. Now, obviously, don't post your binge drinking photos on the weekend. There's certain things you don't want to do, but you know what I mean. So how to create your own content then based on that? So firstly, once you figured out what your voice is, who you are, your persona, your personality online that you want to portray, you need to know who your audience is first and foremost. Who are you? Who do you want to resonate with? Who are you trying to sell to, or who are you trying to reach? So for me, it's insurance professionals. And so it's a mix of insurance professionals who want to see a lot of growth within their brokerage or agency. And second to that, it's mentoring young women in the industry into leadership. So offer value. So what's your expertise? And I want you to write this down. Like, over the years, what is your expertise? What can you share? What pieces of information can you give away for free that'll build trust and that authentic piece, and get you recognition online? And of course, as Kelsey was saying, you want to use a mix of content. So video right now is outperforming everything else on LinkedIn, and only I think 20% of people are utilizing it. So it's a great way to kind of dip your toes in there and do some video, even though it feels a little cringy. I promise it'll get you a better engagement rate. And also really like look into what makes you unique. So what is your area of expertise? What are your hobbies? What do you want to talk about? How do you build that whole person persona? So I'm going to use me as an example. So my personal content. So what are my core values? And this is real. And Kelsey will attest to this. I'm not making this up. Work-life balance. I always try to preach that. I don't always do it right, but I try. Family and friends are hugely important to me. Health and wellness. I'm really working towards better mental and physical health, and working on that. And the big one for me is mentoring women in insurance. Okay, so then what is my me statement? So from all of that, my me statement is I'm an insurtech leader who is passionate about promoting health and wellness, mentoring women in the industry, and sharing everything I've learned about insurance marketing. So you can see kind of some of my posts there. The posts that I was most successful on were not the posts where I was giving like what I thought were really good, juicy content on like building a crisis communication strategy that works for climate change in the industry and forest fires, or lead sources and what you should be spending your time on for better ROI. It was actually more of the personal stuff. So when I launched my Women in Insurance podcast, that got a lot. When I showed people that I went away on meditation for the weekend to prevent burnout and to rest so that I could be a better leader for everybody, or how I conquered my fear of heights that was debilitating for many years by hiking in the Rockies. So those were the posts that probably had 10 times more engagement. And I think it's that vulnerability piece, because I was like admitting some things and how I overcame it, and people could see that I was being quite authentic. And from there, then the posts that kind of I want to engage people in for my business side of things. So, the masterclass on AI and marketing, which is something I am very, very passionate about. And also, there's that communications crisis blueprint that I really thought would perform really well, but did not. I'm going to try to repost it again in a different platform or format. But so you can kind of see how you mix that personal brand with your business to kind of create that whole person persona. Um, so I cannot stress this enough. Having your employees as brand influencers on LinkedIn will make a huge impact on how you're able to sell B2B. And let's just talk here a minute. So I am focusing on B2B. So if you're in commercial insurance, mid-sized commercial, small business commercial insurance, like you have to absolutely be on LinkedIn. You should be doing thought leadership, building your community and getting sales that way. However, you can still do that if you're personal lines. I was a personal lines broker and I dealt a lot and I got my most sales from the affinity channels. So, affinity channels would be things like the dealership referral program or mortgage broker program or a group program. So, with organizations that are signed up to get group rates with our brokerage. And you can get a lot of visibility because employees of those group programs are on LinkedIn and engaging on LinkedIn. So you can build more trust, get more referrals. Second to that, building personal referrals in the insurance industry. We all know a referral gives you a higher conversion rate and also has a higher retention rate. So we kind of have to take that traditional referral model that we're used to in the insurance brokerage industry that's changing into an online referral model. And the best way to do that, I think in my mind, that's not being leveraged as much as I think it could, is on the LinkedIn space. So, why is your network important? Three things, three reasons why you want to build your network. You want to connect to people like you, so even peers in the industry, because you never know if you ever need to move jobs. So let's get real. If you build your own professional network and you're looking for new opportunities, LinkedIn is the best way to do that. A lot of recruiters are on there, and the research shows that, especially in the insurance industry, it's about who you know if you want to change roles. Second is your network is your net worth. The more people you have in your network, the more you resonate with them, the better you are at selling your product. So building that trust, and whether it's commercial or whether showing yourself as an amazing specialty in risk management for, let's say, accountants or engineers or whatever, or for me, who I'm a thought leader in marketing and insurance. So this is obviously the space I need to be in. Always keep your audience in mind when you're posting. So you can go into now, because everybody has access to this, it's not just business pages. You can go into your analytics page and look at your demographics and see, okay, what industries are they in, age, country. Keep that in mind when you're posting, and say, oh, I have a lot of people from this specific market. I should post more about this because it really would resonate with them. So that's when Kelsey and I are doing content, we always, doesn't change too much for us at this point, but we always do take a look to see if our demographics are shifting, what we have to do to change our content to resonate more. All right, so I wouldn't be my true authentic self if I didn't nerd out a little bit. So I have a background in behavioral psychology. I did my bachelor's in it before I went on to do a master's in something else, and it still fascinates me to this day. Like, I'm obsessed with it. I'm reading some really good books about behavioral psychology and marketing, which maybe I'll do a video about later on. But I know many of people read this book, and it's a foundational piece for other research that's being done, and that's Atomic Habits. So Kelsey and I have given this influencer marketing webinar to our own employees, and I'd say 2% actually do it. Why? We know that it helps grow the company. We know that it increases sales, and we know it increases brand visibility. So why aren't people doing it? Because when we're asking people, you need to add 50 people to your network a week. You need to post 2 times a week. You need to like and comment on 12 posts a week. When we say all of that, it's overwhelming. So people just don't do it. So I'm going to give you some habit forming tips to help you succeed on this path, because I think there's something really important that you need to keep in mind. Social media success does not happen overnight. It takes months, sometimes years, to build a really strong network that you'll actually see profitability from. But it is something that I promise you, if you're steady with it and you're consistent and you're committed to it, you will see profitability out of it. I promise you, because I've seen it time and time again when those three factors are taken into account. So I'm going to start with a quote and break it down for you. So, first, habits are the compound interest of self improvement. So, what does that mean in this context? It means consistent small actions on LinkedIn, like a daily post, comments, engagement, compound over time to build a robust professional network and personal brand. So, don't think of it as, I haven't reached 5,000 followers yet. I'm only at 1,000. I'm never going to get there. So, what's the point? Take it a little bit of a time. Don't think about the bigger picture. Just focus on what you can do today and it will impact tomorrow. I promise. Second, you do not rise to the level of your goals. You do not rise to the level of goals, you fall to the level of your systems. I'm a strong believer in systems. As soon as I stop having systems, and Kelsey knows, as soon as I get lazy with my systems or I'm too busy to deal with my systems, that's when things start to fall apart. So set up a system for LinkedIn engagement. So for me, every morning, the first thing I do, I get my coffee. From 8:30 to 9 is my LinkedIn time. 30 minutes a day. In the morning, that's when I do everything I need to do. And it's become such something I actually take pleasure in, because I'm not answering emails. I'm not taking calls. It's quiet LinkedIn time. I can do my thing. And I actually look forward to it now. Before it was a chore. Now I really look forward to it. Okay, so the next one is, the most effective way to change your habit is to focus not on what you want to achieve, but on who you wish to become. So let's take me, for example. I really, really, really want to be the person that has an impact on brokerages, to help them grow, to help them really leverage marketing in a way that's profitable and not cumbersome, because I've been there. I've been the 1 to 2 person communications team that had to do a lot with very little, and I want to share that wisdom. Conversely, I also want to be the person that I can mentor young women into leadership roles in insurance. It can be challenging. There's a lot of things to navigate, and I want to give my personal experiences, mistakes, and everything in between to help people grow. So I'm focusing on that. I'm focusing on the person I want to become rather than how I'm going to get there. So the application to that is, instead of focusing on metrics like connections, which, yeah, I do look at it. Of course, I look at my analytics. I do, but it's not the be all and end all, because some weeks you're going to get really bad engagement and things ebb and flow. Just stick with it. Aim to become consistent. Become consistent in failure. So that's that growth mindset. Because I'm going to tell you, there are months, even Kelsey and I are like, we are posting really great things and we're not getting any value out of it. What's going on? It could be that, it's summertime, no one's engaged, or it's close to Christmas time, or this content, maybe it's not the best time to post something like this or next. Just stick with it. Don't think of it as a failure. Think of it as staying consistent, and you'll start to see impact again. Last slide, I promise, on behavioral psychology. Bear with me, okay? Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, make it satisfying. So, how do you do this? Set up visual cues like notes on your desk or phone reminders to prompt LinkedIn activities. As insurance brokers, we've done it. If we had an underwriting thing we had to offer on every call, we would have it on our computer screen so we wouldn't forget. Engage with content and people that genuinely interest you to make the process enjoyable. Don't comment for the sake of comment. Really find your people online, either in your industry or around your industry, that really resonate with you. And I actually made some really great friends online through LinkedIn whom I have a lot in common with, and I think I'm going to be friends with them for life. So and that also is wow, it's hard being a grown up when you're not in school to make new friends. And now I'm discovering that, wow, I'm making new friends on LinkedIn. As cheesy as it sounds, I promise you it's pretty cool. And like I said, start really small. It could be, you know what, next week, every day, I'm going to spend 10 minutes a day liking people's posts. That could be it. That could be all you do for a week. The next week is, I'm going to be brave. For me, I still have a hard time commenting, but I'm going to be brave. And I'm going to comment on a few posts. And then maybe a couple weeks after that, you feel comfortable writing your own posts or doing a video or writing an article. Okay, so um, environment is the invisible hand that shapes human behavior. So, create an environment conducive to LinkedIn engagement. This could mean setting up a dedicated time and space for your LinkedIn activity. So, for me, it's my morning coffee, 8:30 to 9 when I'm not quite awake yet, but I want to dig into some LinkedIn gossip. Uh, okay, so because we want to help you guys out, we've created a 6 week LinkedIn challenge where if you sign up, we are going to give you every week something you can do on LinkedIn to help grow, whether it's how to write your description about who you are, or how to optimize that thing I had in the beginning about who I was and what I do, or try to like 20 posts this week. So you can sign up to our challenge, and we'll guide you through the way. And we promise after the 6 weeks, you'll feel a lot more comfortable if you're not already posting and really connecting with people online on LinkedIn. That's it. That concludes our How to Become a LinkedIn Influencer webinar. There's obviously a lot more we can dig into in terms of content calendar, scheduling, but this is really just an intro to kind of get you in there, start building that community, start posting, and start getting comfortable with it. We will do a more advanced masterclass probably in the fall on content scheduling, content calendars, tips and tricks on how to create content quickly, but with authenticity and expertise. If you have any questions, please ask us now. I do have a little exercise I'm going to give you. This is a document I created to help you kind of figure out what your brand is, specifically your personal brand. I'm just going to pop it in the chat here. Check it out. It only takes takes about 15 to 20 minutes to do, but it does give you like a who statement at the end. And it can be hard to be introspective about yourself and who you want to portray online. Kelsey, do you have anything you want to add?
I think it was just going back to that one piece where you were talking about being the person like you want to become on LinkedIn and living that way. I went to a webinar in the fall, or a conference in the fall, and that was like one of the big pieces is when you truly just start living as this person. Like you could literally write down who this person is and who you want you to be, and you just daily start living as that person, you just become it. So it's the same with how Kenya was talking about, like with her LinkedIn, like where she started to where she is now. Like you slowly just become it. And I find like the scrolling and the liking and the engaging, especially in the morning, like I find like daily inspiration there, like especially when it comes to content and pieces like that, following people in that industry. I find like looking through like, the email stats and like everything like that, I get a little bit more inspiration for the day. So I do think it genuinely has like a huge impact on your mindset for the day too when it comes to LinkedIn and growing your following and community on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I also get my news from there too. I'm like, oh, this happened. So it's great. Yeah. Well, again, thanks so much for joining, and we'll do a more advanced masterclass in the fall. So stay tuned. Thanks, everybody. We'll
Thank
see you
you.
later. Bye.